What is going on, guys? Sonic and the Bean Show here. Today we're looking at the brand new Jakks specific Wave 4 Sonic Prime 5-inch figures. So these are the only new figures in this wave. Surprisingly, there's no new Sonic variant in this set. They re-released the New York City one in this wave rather than making a new one like the No Place version, for example. So it feels weird just not reviewing a full set like I did with the others. But let's take a quick look at their packaging. We're going to start off with the Sonic Trooper figure. Let me just move Renegade Nucks right here. So here we have the Sonic Trooper, and as you can see, the Grim right there. And the packaging still standard. You got your Jakks specific logo there. The Sonic Prime logo and Sonic up there. Not much else. And then here's the back. So the Sonic Trooper does have 13 points of articulation. And then, we do get the other figures here in the set. So yeah, you can see that the New York Sonic is the re-release figure in the set. So that is the back of the packaging for Sonic Trooper. Here we have Renegade Nucks. I'm actually excited for this one right here. The expression is still kind of odd though on this guy. I think that was one I was my only gripe right there when I was talking about this figure. But we got Renegade Nucks right here, and then here is the back of the packaging. So Renegade Nucks got 13 points of articulation. And there's the rest of the set. And then here we have Rouge. And she's the only one that's coming with an accessory in this set. So Rouge, no place. And then here's the back right here. She has 15 points of articulation. I would assume just because of the wings right there. And yeah, that's pretty much that right there. So that right there was the packaging for these figures. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack these out of the box and take a closer look. Okay, so the first figure we're going to be looking at here is Renegade Nucks. Now, Renegade Nucks is one of my favorites in the show, so I was really excited when this figure was first announced. And I think the only thing I just wasn't really a fan of was just the expression. Like Renegade Nucks in the show, he's usually always like really serious or he's angry. And like this expression, I don't know, honestly. I just feel like it doesn't really match the way how he would be in the show. I can't even tell like what he's looking at because he's not even like looking at the camera really. Like I have to like maybe something like that, but let's get a little closer here on the face. So the beanie on top of his head is actually sculpted on. You can see like the resistance symbol up there. And it is like pretty much plain black, but it is like sculpted on. You can also see the scars going on here with his quills. But what's kind of weird is that they don't have the main scar on his forehead where he has like the X on his forehead. They don't have that here. And, the paint is okay in some spots. Like I do have like a scratch right here on the face. The paint on the shoes isn't really the best, especially like back here. I don't know what's going on right there, but everything else doesn't look too bad. You can still see like everything else is like kind of sculpted on to like his wrist. You got like his brass knuckles here, which is sculpted on, and the paint's not too bad here. And then you have like his elbow pad right here as well, because Renegade Nucks is like a fighter, so you got to get all like the crazy like armor for battle and everything. Speaking of battle, I think it would have been cool if he came with like some sort of weapon. Since he usually has it a lot in the show, or like a gun too. You usually see him with the gun or something like that. But yeah, no accessories here. They even gave him an open hand, so he doesn't come with an accessory. The hands are actually massive, by the way. It almost seems like they got like weight, because it seems like later on they tend to slide down. But like, yeah, his hands are massive. Like look how massive his hands are next to like his torso and his legs, man. It's wild. But overall, like the sculpt is nice on this figure. I will say that. But it's just the expression, and then the articulation's kind of a problem too. It's kind of weird trying to pose this guy. So for the articulation, so the head is kind of similar with the Knuckles figures, where you have to like move the quill over the tail if you want him to turn at the head. It's not terrible. The quills are going to be stiff though on this guy. They're not going to be like as as soft really to try to move it over, but because the head's like on a ball hinge, you can still like kind of move it in a way, so it's not terrible. But yeah, you do get that ball hinge up for the neck like the other figures. Trying to have him look up though is kind of weird because the arms can get in the way, so you have to like kind of put the arms through to have him really look up. See, I can have him look up just about there, but you have to like tuck the arms in sometimes, and then, you know, to make him look down again, you kind of have to like tuck the arms in to make the head go a little bit down, but it doesn't. Well, yeah, I think he's looking down this time. Of course, the joints are on ball hinges, so, you know, the elbow, you can only get that much of a bend. Like, this is as much as you get, really. And again, the hands, you know, they got like the weights in them, so it kind of moves the arm a little bit, and you can, you know, get a rotation out of that. And you can also rotate, you know, the wrist, of course. Now for the hips, kicking forward, you get just about there. The hips on these figures aren't really that great, and then, you know, kicking back, not really that great either. And the knee joints is kind of weird because sometimes you have to work around these ball joints because sometimes they can like face this way, and then you got to turn the leg. I just don't really like the legs, honestly, at all. They're kind of floppy in a way. It reminds me of like the Jazzwares superposers, where like they're just super floppy, you know, and they just don't really like feel that great trying to pose around, and then like over time they just get super loose. You do have articulation here with the boot, and, you know, these are also, I think these are on ball hinges too. I don't think it's really, maybe it could be a ball peg, because I know one of them, or like some of the figures will be like just on a ball hinge. So here's your comparison for Nucks right here. So we have the New York Sonic figure and then 9 right here. He's actually taller than both. And I want to do some more comparisons. I feel like I can actually compare him with other figures. Oh, you know what? Let's compare him to Gnarly. So here's you know, Gnarly right here. I think they're about the same height. It almost seems like Nucks is a little bit taller. Here is Shadow. I'm gonna put Shadow right here, and then I'll bring in Rusty Rose. So yeah, here they are. I think Nucks is still taller here. He seems like it. And then one more here is Mr. Dr. Eggman. So yeah, they're definitely taller. And then here is Dr. Deep. I want to bring both of these out here. I don't remember Nucks really being this tall next to Dr. Deep and Mr. Dr. Eggman. So I don't know. Maybe the scaling is pretty off here, because something's really throwing me off. I don't remember Nucks really being this tall next to them. Next up here is Bats and Rouge. Now this is another one I was excited about just because I was really looking forward to seeing, you know, Rouge in the 5-inch line. And I thought it was going to be Rebel Rouge, but, you know, Bat and Rouge is, you know, cool for me. And, you know, I like the 2.5-inch figure from that No Play set. That was one of my favorites, or well, actually my favorite really in that set anyway. But it was one of my favorites, like 2.5-inch figures they did. Well, I guess 3-inch really because of the size. But this figure is actually pretty neat. I think aesthetically it does look nice. Maybe the head is a bit too big, but I don't know really. To me it looks a little too big. But, you know, the sculpt isn't like terrible. I think it has a nice sculpt, especially like the bandana, you know, they have wrapped around her head right here. And, you know, the eyeshadow, you know, for the paint job right there doesn't look too bad. The lashes look nice, and again, the sculpt here. The sculpting here with the bandana around her head, it's actually nice. It is like a, you know, hard plastic, you know, so, but, you know, it does look really, really nice. And, you know, the head sculpt's not terrible. I think this is actually okay. I mean, it's the same as, you know, the 2.5-inch figure, really. They kind of just did the same thing right here, and you can see, of course, since, you know, this is the more like premium figure, really, of course there's more details. Like they got the patterns going on here to her vest, as opposed to how this one was, you know, but she still got like the navy blue shirt, and then, you know, the black collar right there, and then, like, of course, like her brown gloves. And I even like the black belts, and then the buckle was strapped around the boots right here. The paint job is probably the best here so far on her boots. Like, it's not terrible. Along with like her face, I think so far, like, mine actually looks clean. Around the, you know, like the clothing here, some spots aren't really the greatest, especially like around her cuffs right here. Remember, she does have an accessory. It's her sword. You know, again, I don't know why, Black Rose didn't get one, but she's getting a sword. They forgot to paint the handle though. Again, they didn't do that with, you know, the 2.5 inch, but they didn't paint the handle. I think it's like a blue. I think it's maybe like a light blue for a handle. And then, you know, you can like put this on to the hand right here. You know, there you go. Now the articulation. So the head is gonna be annoying with the wings when you turn at her head, because you know, the wings just kind of be in there. So every time you turn the head, it's gonna come in contact, you know, with her wings right there. As you can see, I had to like move them, and then if I move her head back in place, even with the ball hinge, that's kind of annoying, because if I wanted her to like look up, I'm kind of like flexing the wings a little bit. Have her look down. It's actually not too bad. You get that much for, you know, Rouge to look down, so that's okay. But you have a full rotation to the arms. She does have her single jointed elbows, and the range is okay. You know, it's all right. And then, you know, you have a rotation and a rotation to the wrist as well. Now the hips, they're gonna be similar to Thorn Rose. If you own that figure, you know how bad the hips were. She's not gonna be the greatest here, especially with this piece sculpted here. That's gonna be a problem, because you can't really move it as forward as much, because that's gonna be in the way. I mean, back, of course, it's not, well, even then, even trying to move it back isn't the greatest. And then like even this one, it's just not that great. You know, I mean, it's more range than Thorn Rose, but it's not gonna be the best. You know, even back, it's just not that great. You do have your single jointed knees right there. Should get about 90. You can also rotate, which is coming right here, but you can pretty much like rotate the leg too. And yeah, it's really just a rotation right there. I'm actually an idiot because I forgot to show off the wings, but you know, the wings, you know, just get a hinge right there. Okay, and now for some comparisons. Here she is with the 4-inch figure. I thought I would just add this in just for those that were curious to see how she would look next to, you know, her original figure right here. So yeah, if you want to see like how that is, you know, there you go. But another big comparison I wanted to do is, of course, compare her to Black Rose right here. So you can see Batten is definitely taller than Black Rose right here. And another thing I want to do is I want to see if she can hold the sword that Batten came with. So let's actually like try this out and see how that is. And yeah, it does seem like, yeah, she can hold it. It's not like she's not really like holding the sword as much as I want her to, but I mean, it can work. Like, it's just not really on it compared to how it was for Batten, of course, but she can hold the sword, you know. It's okay. I just think what sucks though is that if you want Black Rose to have a sword, you would have to buy this figure again. But yeah, you know, you can have her, you know, hold on to the sword right there. So, you know, there you go right there if you want to see that. Here she is, you know, with Renegade Nucks right here. I know this is, you know, Renegade Nucks and not Dread, you know, but I thought I would just try to throw this comparison in anyway. And then I'll add in somebody else. Here she is with like Shadow right here. Let's add in 2 other figures. Here is Sonic. So yeah, she's definitely taller than Sonic. And then here is like Dr. Deep right here. So yeah, Dr. Deep is going to be taller here. And then the last figure we have here is the Sonic Trooper figure. So my first initial thoughts on this guy, I thought it was just going to be like pretty similar to the Chaos Sonic figure, you know, with the articulation and the sculpt and everything like that. And even though it does like kind of resemble that figure a little bit, it's actually a whole lot different, and I wasn't really expecting it. So let me just get straight into the comparison so you can see what I'm talking about. But you know, here it is right here. You can see that it's definitely a lot bigger here. So it's a whole new sculpt actually. Again, it's similar to how it is, which, you know, it makes sense because, you know, like Tails is like Robot Designs. We're kind of like based off like other, you know, characters really. But yeah, you can see that it is a lot bigger, and you know, there are some difference here going on along with the articulation. The articulation is a little bit different compared to you know, Chaos Sonic, and it actually shares some articulation to like you know, Rusty Rose as well. But it's kind of cool to see these next to each other. I like that these are different. I was a little worried these are going to be, are really like pretty much just the same as this, but like repainted or so. But it's not, so I'm, you know, cool with that. But I do like the size here going on with this robot, which is cool because, you know, I reviewed the, you know, the 2.5 inch figure, which was also in, you know, wave 4 of this line. So you have that. And what's cool is that this one was like translucent, but this one right here is actually completely transparent. You can actually like see through there. It's kind of weird because I have like a mark. I don't know if you'll be able to kind of see it there in the middle. There's like a weird mark right there, but it is you know, transparent, which is really cool. See how like you can like really like see through. So that's really cool right there. My biggest issue though is, you know, when this figure was also revealed, it was throwing me off just because it doesn't really look exactly how it looks in the show. Instead of us getting like that gold sort of color, we kind of get like this bronze color instead. And then we also don't get like that, I think it was like the light blue, where like these, basically like these dark like pieces here. But articulation is going to be pretty similar. You know, you have your rotation there to the head, and you can have it look up just a little bit. It's not the best compared to, you know, it looking down. You can see it does look down a lot better here. You do get a hinge to the shoulder, you know, which does go just horizontal right there. And again, the elbow joints, which is actually good because it does get better range with the elbows compared to Chaos Sonic, but the articulation with the elbows, it's pretty similar to Rusty Rose, the way how it is. But Rusty Rose actually got more range. I don't know if it's because due to the mold here, if that's kind of hindering that. You know, you do have the ball hinges here for the wrist, so you can like, you know, move that back and forth along with the rotation. I think the weakness here though is that because it's like Rusty, you're not going to get a swivel with the bicep right there. There's no swivel because of the way how the joint is, so that sucks right there. And then, you know, for the hips is actually okay. Like it can still kick, you know, pretty high up, pretty well right there. And then back, it's good. And then you have your single jointed knees. Mine are pretty loose, but you know, the knee joints aren't terrible. Like you get that much range right there. And it does have the ball hinge here for the ankles, so you can like hear that squeaking going on there, but far back about there, and then far forward, and then you have your rotation. The ball hinges for these ankles aren't like that great for this figure. There's not a lot of range, and because of that, this figure, well, I have that loose knee right here, so it's also top heavy, and it does tend to fall back, so we're trying to get this guy to stand is an issue. Sometimes I gotta lean him a little forward. So yeah, pretty much that's really the articulation right there. Oh yeah, and another thing I keep on forgetting to show is that you know, not only can it like kick, you know, forward and back, but it can also, you know, kick out to the side, and you know, you got, you know, great splits right there. So here's some more comparisons right here. So, you know, we have the Sonic Trooper next to the Grim Sonic figure, and then 9 right here. I figured I would do this because, you know, this was the Grim, and you know, that is 9's robot as well. So I figured this comparison was probably best right here. And I'm gonna move 9, and I want to add in Shadow, since, you know, Shadow was also fighting these robots. So here is Shadow right here, if you want to see how that is. And then I'll actually just take Sonic out, and I'll add in like Rusty Rose. Here's Rusty Rose next to the Sonic Trooper, right? And then one more. I'll take Shadow out this time, and then I'll add in let's add in Mr. Dr. Eggman right here. So there you go. I'm trying not to have him fall over, but yeah, there you go. Alright, so that is going to wrap up this review on Wave 4 of the 5-inch Sonic Prime figures by Jakks Pacific. The Renegade Nuck figure has a really great sculpt, but again, man, these joints just get way too loose on these figures. His shoulders is already getting loose from raising the arm due to the weight of his hands, and the legs just aren't that great either, not just from the articulation, but also because the red for the plastic doesn't match the rest of the figure. He's missing the scar on his forehead. The eyes are way too pink. The nose is really brown for whatever reason, and the expression is really out of place for him. So yeah, really mixed on this one. Now Baton Rouge is pretty decent. The paint job is solid in some spots, and I think the head sculpt is really good. But I'd say her weakest spot is definitely the articulation. You're only going to get her in some really basic poses. One of the wings is already getting loose, and I still think the head looks too big on the body. And then as for Sonic Trooper, it's not too bad. It's going to have some similarities with the Chaos Sonic figure when it comes to articulation. I just wish that instead it was just another Chaos Council member. Just because the Eggman and Dr. Deep figures have been really good lately. They've been one of the best actually. But those were the figures right there. Probably my least favorite wave so far compared to the others. However, let me know what are your thoughts on these in the comments down below. If you want to pick these up, they are currently available at Target along with Amazon. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. Until then, take care, my friends.